What's going on, everyone? Josh White here. Thank you for tuning in. Now, this has been overwhelming lately, and I have not been doing intros because I can barely keep up with the amount of episodes that I am being requested to do. So I guess you could take that as a blessing, right? I remember starting off begging people to come on and getting a lot of no's. And flash forward to today, I'm booked till December, and I just had to stop taking more people at that point because there's just so many folks asking to come on HeroFront. I'm going to be talking to some politicians, some generals soon as well. So a lot of exciting things to come. And it puts me in a weird spot because I'm not used to saying no to anyone. I realize I hate saying no to people. But at any rate, I want to talk about this episode. It was recorded about 8 months ago, so it is fairly old. And it was me and my co-host, Mike Rosa, talking to a local hero, a local badass here in the Niceville, Florida area named GeoffSpeyrer. Now, he is a veteran, but his story is actually more geared towards being an addict of crystal meth. I believe he drank a lot as well, and how that just put him on a downward spiral that most would never recover from. But Geoff is built different. He is completely jacked and gets after it, and his mindset is next level. It's almost like he's addicted to success at this point. So I really admire Geoff, and I asked him to come on. We met at Black Rifle Coffee, so I got to meet him in person. He's an outstanding guy, but I do want to say this episode is a bit explicit because it does talk about drug use, addiction, recovery, being in trouble with the law, a lot of cursing. So we're going to give this episode that explicit warning. So don't listen to this in the car with your kids is what I'm saying. And the last thing I want to tell you is that, HeroFront, at the quality that I'm putting out with videos and audio and all the software I use and all the time I put into this, it is pretty expensive to maintain it. Of course, I love it, and so it's worth it to me. But if you want to help out, if you want to help keep the lights on here at Team HeroFront, I would greatly appreciate if you went to HeroFrontPodcast.com, click store, and you will see all the merch that I'm currently selling. And anything you purchase not only helps the brand, but it helps keep the lights on. It has been such an incredible journey. Lots of ups and downs, lots of wins and setbacks. I've learned a lot about myself in this process, and I'm just so blessed to have found my purpose. If you don't have purpose, you're truly lost. And when I look at my life now, how fulfilling it is with my family, my career, and now the podcast, I can say I'm truly blessed with purpose. So thank you for being a part of this journey. Thank you for listening. And let's get into talking to my good friend, GeoffSpeyrer. Let's get after it.
That's the most important part.
Yeah, it is.
Is being able to is being able to stay consistent. I think.
Yeah, man.
Consistency is everything. Consistency
Absolutely.
is key. It's just like with training and everything else, dude. In life, like the more consistent you are, the more you show up, the more, what I'm saying? It's not about being perfect. It's about showing up. Mm-hmm. It's about being consistent. You don't have to be perfect 100% of the time. You don't have to be, but if you show up 90% of the time, and I'm not talking, dude, your word is everything. You know what I'm saying? Like, So if you show up to the gym 90% of the week, Monday through Saturday or whatever, I don't do math, dude. Yeah. Don't hold me to those numbers. Whatever, freaking the percentage of is like out of 6 out of 7, you know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
Yeah.
Is, bro, 6 out of 7 days training. You only really need probably like 4 or 5 if you do it right.
100%. Man.
Sometimes my weeks are look like, man, sometimes I have like 17, 18, 19 hours of training in a week.
It's a lot.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's not even like the most stressful. That's not the most stressful weeks. I've had weeks where I've had like 40-hour weeks, dude. Like somebody's job. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
But it's like, how bad do you want it? So in the situations like that where I have those weeks that were like that, I'm like, in those times, I'm like dealing with some serious stuff. Like I'm not always just training for something.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to like man, I did a video a while back, and it was like for suicide awareness, suicide prevention, and it was about whenever I birthed an endurance athlete, it was fighting for minutes, fighting for hours, fighting for days, you know what I'm saying, to be able to stay alive. You know what I'm saying? I was just looking for...
You're fighting for your life.
Yeah, I was just looking for time to be able to stay out of, like, being intoxicated, finding a way to, like, find productive action for my life. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had no, you know, like, I didn't know anybody here whenever I got here. Everybody in Louisiana that I knew that I dealt with was, you know, not everybody, but the majority of the people that I dealt with were criminals. You know what I'm saying? And that's not, you know, I mean, if you hang out, you're the average of your 5 closest friends.
100.
You know what I'm saying? Dude, you should see the people that I hang out with now.
Yeah.
You know?
You got some good friends now.
Bro, like, the people that I hang out with now, like, bro, literally the 5 closest people that I hang out with are like 7- and 8-figure earners. So guess who's next, dude?
That's you, homie.
Me, dude. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm coming for everything, dude. Like,
100.
there's nothing that can stop. And then, like, my work ethic. So if you think about this, like, okay, the difference between a $500,000 earner and a $50,000 earner, if they're both been in the game the same time, same amount of time, you know, whatever, same job, same whatever, the difference between a $50,000 person and a $500,000 person is generally work ethic.
Yeah.
So the person that's a $50,000 earner, he's comfortable in that spot probably, you know, he's doing whatever, but the $500,000 earner has had $500,000 work ethic way before he got $500,000. He was at that $50,000 spot grinding it.
He's hungry.
Not looking at a clock. You know what I'm saying? You can't look at your life and be like watching the clock. Bro, I do so much selfless work that, like, and attack everything. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was doing events, not getting paid money, not getting paid anything, and like tearing the skin off my hands so I couldn't even train just because I was like fighting demons. Just because I was just like doing it for a purpose. I didn't know what I was doing it for. I just knew that I wanted to give my heart to something. All I was trying to do was like create impact and bring people together. I didn't even know like what I was really doing. I had a vision. I had a vision for what was going on, but like had no idea, no direction or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, but man, to be like, so how I got to like this area, this stage, whatever, you know, like some.
Can I tell you why I invited you on here?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Let me just start with that.
Let's do that. Yeah.
So I was borderline suicidal at a point in my life, and I was an alcoholic, and I had no coping skills, and I was very isolated, and I thought I'd be dead by 30. I mean, that's just the honest truth. It was to the point where I would feed my dogs extra food because I wasn't positive I was going to wake up that next morning from the amount of alcohol that I was consuming. You know what I mean? And so I was to that point. And now I have a life that I never dreamed of. I have a beautiful wife, 2 beautiful kids. I'm a master sergeant in the Air Force. I can't believe that. And all the people I used to know back then can't believe that either. But when I see you, man, just knowing what I've been through, which is probably like 1/10 of what you've been through, man, and I immediately was drawn to just your whole vibe on social media, the way you share your story, the things that you've been through, and then how you've kind of flipped the script and used that entire story as this positive mission that just inspires everyone that you come in contact with. And I just love that about you, man. And we're just super honored to have you here, honestly. But that's why I asked you to be on here, man, because I can relate with you. You know what I mean? I know how that feels. And I was hoping you could just take us back to, you know, when you were in the Army, correct?
Yeah.
I was hoping you could take us back to that point and really just tell us your story on how we got this end product of this guy who is just living his best life, getting after and inspiring people with this story. Like,
we're just getting started. you know what I'm saying, like where we're at right now and stuff like that, bro, it's just the beginning. Every day is day one. Every day is a new opportunity, you know what I'm saying, to become the best version of myself, to reach more people and stuff like that. But, bro, I used to not talk about, like, my childhood at all. But the, like, everything, all the stuff that took place and everything, it, like, goes all the way back from, like, my youngest memories at 2 years old and shit like that. But we'll fast forward. We're not. We can come back to that later. But so I joined the Army. I went to basic training at Fort Leonard Wood as a combat engineer.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
What year was that?
Dude. Man. So I told my recruiter that I wanted I was National Guard, dude. So, you know, I told my recruiter that I wanted a break. Oh, yeah. I was like, what's going to keep me over there for a while, but give me a little break in the middle, you know what I'm saying? Like, and, or like something. So he was like, all right, man, we'll put you in around like the October. You'll go in like the October frame and you'll get like that 2-week Christmas break or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I did that and, great time, dude. Those guys, just I'll sit here sometimes, dude, and I'll just kind of like reminisce. Like whenever I'm like hanging out with some of the guys around here and stuff like that, I'm just like, man, I see the cohesion, the camaraderie, and I'm just like, damn, dude, I kind of like what I was, you know what I mean? Like you go to basic training and you come back and it's like, as dumb as that was, as bad as that sucked, I would go back and do it all over again. I was telling somebody that the other day, and he was like, yeah, dude, you're all alone on that one, dude. I don't want that dumb stuff. So, anyway, get out of there. And a couple key, I guess you'd say key factors is like, I go to basic, and then the girl that I was with, like, cheats on me out there, right? Or whatever. Like,
classic.
Oh, dude. I was absolutely the first person this ever happened to. This is completely original, right? Dude. This doesn't happen to anybody else, dude. It's just me, dude. So anyway, I get back, dude, and me, I'm in love, dude. Been with her since I was like 14, 15 years old, whatever. And I asked her to marry me.
Classic.
Right before my birthday, dude. Oh yeah, dude. Never happened. We get back. Hey, look, this is gonna fix the situation, right? Like, yep. I go and I spend like all my basic money on a freaking ring, dude. And so we got, like, that's in February. That's like February, whatever, 19th or something like that. Whatever, I don't know. And anyway, we get married on May 9th, and I get deployed 6 days later.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, and then so, being National Guard and stuff like that, dude, you're like, man, I'm going like, fight hurricanes and stuff like that, whatever. I'm going, whatever.
Right, it's protect the homeland is like their mission as the Guard.
Yeah, but,
you got deployed as a combat engineer?
Yeah. So when we got deployed, they told us, dude, that our chain of command had told us that we were going to do sweat missions. So let's see. All right, give me a second. Sewage, water, electricity, and trash, I think they called it.
Something like that.
Oh, wow.
Or
I never heard of that.
Trash, or I don't know, whatever. So I was like, oh, we're going to be picking up trash on the side of the road? Well, we did that, dude. That's exactly what we did. It was called route clearance, dude. Yeah, dude, we went and picked up trash on the side of the road. It's called IEDs.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, it was simple, dude. Like, you just pick up the sacks.
Was this to detect IEDs, or was this to legitimately clean up?
Nah, man, we really did route clearance. We were out there with Buffalo, dude, freaking going 3 miles an hour down the road looking for IEDs on the, whatever. And you either find them or they find you, right?
So if you find them, does that trigger an explosion? Or how does that work?
It could. Yeah. It could. Like, you just go and you stick this claw. Like, so the Buffalo is like, the best way that I can explain it, because I was out there from 2004 to 2005. So it was an 18-month deployment. We did 12 months boots on ground in theater. So, like, we had a little bit of a train up. We went to, like, Fort Hood. We went to, what do you call it? Death Valley, dude. Fort Irwin.
Okay.
Like NTC. Uh-huh. We went train out there for a little while. And then from there, I think we went back to Fort Hood. because that was where we were gonna like mob out of or something or whatever. I can't remember, dude. But it was like Fort Hood, Fort Irwin, and then we went across the water. We had like one more little small like couple day break or something like that, and then we rolled out. Well, like in the process of this, my little brother is diagnosed with leukemia. So,
oh my God!
At the same time, surprise, dude, my wife gets pregnant for one of my boys.
No.
Yeah, dude. So like, it was just good times, dude. I paid their cell phone bill like the whole time. It was tight, dude.
Oh my God.
You know, so
it's like those military things that happen, but like you're experiencing all of it. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, real quick, dude. I was like 19, dude. Like
you're trying to get married young. You're deployed right away. You got problems at home with your family. Now your wife's cheating on you.
My little brother's about to like possibly die. You know what I'm saying?
It's like such a military thing, but like it hits you like on all fronts.
Oh yeah, dude. Oh, you're about to go die. Well, hold on. Let's throw in a couple more little pieces to the thing. We're gonna make you or break you, right? You're either gonna turn into a cold-hearted savage, or you're gonna be a dude. I heard this story, and it's like so true. Because in my CSCs, I don't know if so CSCs, every day I write down high value targets. I do a gratitude list. I do a CSCs, which is conscious self creations, and then I do a top 10. A top 10 is you take 3 things from your season goals, which your season is 12 weeks, 90 days, right? You have what, 4 seasons a year? Mm-hmm. That's your quarter, right? And then you have your 1-year goals, and then you got your 3-year goals. So I take either 4 or 3 from one, and then you take 3 and then 3 out of the other one. So, bro, whenever, like, here recently, I've been doing this for about like 2 months, like extremely detailed due to a program that I ended up going through, and then now I'm actually like putting veterans and stuff like that through that same program because of the vision and the clarity. We can go back into that later, but one of the conscious self-creations that I use is I say I am a coffee bean. A coffee bean is a change agent. And I don't know if y'all know who Damon West is, but Damon West is a guy that he went to prison. He was a drug addict, dealer, whatever. I can't remember but he got life in prison.
Oh wow!
And he's speaking now, but he's on parole until like 2070 something, dude. Like he's got to do his, but like completely turned his life around. And this dude shares his story, dude. He's an incredible individual, man. But he talks about being a coffee bean. He wears his shirts and they say "be a coffee bean" or whatever. So, in the situation that he talks about this, he's talking about prison, but life. Okay, so I'm gonna just change it up a little bit. Life, because there's several situations in life, dude. Life is boiling water. You know what I'm saying? Life has situations like that are boiling, and prison is the same way, right? So you look at whatever situation, your environment, the environment is boiling water. Your environment, depending on where you're at, boiling water either turns you soft or it makes you hard. So you look at a carrot in boiling water, what does it do? It gets soft. Mm-hmm. It breaks it down, right? You look at an egg, you put an egg in water, it's got a hard shell, it becomes a hard-boiled egg in the water. But you put a coffee bean in the water, and it becomes a change agent because it actually changes the property of the water. It doesn't change the property of the being. So in life, don't be a carrot, don't be an egg. Don't let the water affect you, affect your environment, or you can infect your environment.
Yeah.
So like,
powerful.
Whenever I walk into a door, dude, like I like the type of energy that I want to possess, the type of energy that I want to bring forward, and the character that I want to bring to the table. I want to make sure that whenever I'm around people, dude, that people are like, bro, if you don't have any money, if you don't have like whatever, if you lose everything tomorrow, what do you have? All you have is character. All you have is who you are. What do you want to be? How do you want to identify as? You know, whatever. And I want people to look at me. I want people to like not be around and be like, yo, you know what? I wish that dude Geoff was here, dude. That dude brings that. He brings that real good energy. He comes and he brings his heart, he brings his passion, he brings his soul, he brings, you know what I'm saying? Like, and he brings like, he cares. He gives a fuck about people, dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, I will like, bro, I bleed for people. You know, like I still don't have skin on my knees from the event that I did this past weekend. Like I didn't have to like go that hard, dude. Like nobody else didn't have skin on their knees. Like,
I love how you just take every situation and make it so much bigger than yourself.
Oh, it's not but dude, like, okay, so exactly what you just said, like my life is not about me anymore. I spent 13 years. What's up, babe? Oh, excuse me. I spent 13 years, dude, shooting up like 2 intentional overdoses where I flatlined twice. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's just the verified, like that's just like the situations where like I ended up in ICU. That's just the situations, the times that like I have verifiable proof. Bro, there's so many times that I freaking woke up with needles in my arm, not shooting heroin or anything like that, but like I was just trying to end it. I would load up so much dope in that needle, so much meth, that like when I would start pushing it, dude, I could feel my like the way I just did like that, like it just like it'll catch you like where you just like sucks the breath out of you. Yeah. And I can imitate that like over and over and over. Like I have such bad like using dreams and stuff like that now, dude. Like I'll wake up in like a terror. I will wake up like crying because like I think I done threw my life away again, dude. Like I get so scared when I wake up like that.
You know, meth stays with you for the rest of your life because it's such a mind-altering experience. Like you can't ever look at life the same again, you know, when you've been down that path. So I was hoping we can go into that, man. Like just seeing you now and how strong you are and just how much you care about those around you, you know, what led you to that dark place and what happened? You know, you went to prison and you got into drugs. Like how did you get so vulnerable? And then how the hell did you get out of it? So that's the 2 things that I think we would love to hear.
Man, so hey, I still have all my teeth too, dude.
You do. You have a great smile.
Yeah, thank you. Hey, like half of this front one right here, though, this one right here, this one got knocked out. Half of this front, it wasn't from meth, dude. It got knocked out in a fight in high school, though. Dude had a state championship ring on, dude.
Oh.
Like, smoke, dude, hey, look. And it was over my girl that cheated on me, dude.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. Straight up. Hey, he won't fight me again, though, dude. I brought that smoke with me, dude.
I wouldn't. I mean, look at your knuckles. My God.
I got the brass.
I wouldn't ever mess with you, no.
And now I caught, dude, like, so I was sitting at the unit one day after we got back from Iraq, and a couple of the guys were like, hey, yo, Chris, dude, we got Geoff right here, dude. You want to fight him again or whatever? And I was like, they were like, yo, he's got that death dealer tattoo on his trigger finger now. He was like, man, I could leave that crazy son over there, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, so it was all fun and games, dude. We're actually like cool now. We like dap down and stuff like that. You know, I don't hold it, bro. Like, life's so short, dude. If the way that you look at things now, or the way that I try to look at things now, is that if it's not going to affect me in 5 years, then don't waste 5 minutes on it.
Damn, I never saw it like that.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
like, deep. So when a situation happens, dude, like, bro, I see so many people, dude, like, and look, I am not perfect, dude. I am always a work in progress, dude. Like, every time, every day, there are situations that hit me with people, and I'm just like, I've got to regroup. I got to call somebody and be like, yo, how out of line am I for this right now? How out of line, like you gotta get that
peer feedback to make sure you're still on track.
Oh, bro, like, yeah, man, I have coaches and stuff like that, dude. Like, I have mentors that I call and stuff. Like, I talk to Charlie all the time, dude, and like Charlie's like, yo, a wise man seeks counsel, dude. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, so you
talking about Charlie that works here?
Yeah.
Yeah, he seems like an awesome guy.
Bro, that dude, Charlie, like, I love Charlie, dude. Jared too, like, Jared's my homie, dude. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
But those 2 dudes have been there for me through a lot, like, ever since I met them. Interesting situations, like Jared and I, like, we kind of like bonded, like, at the track for the event that I do, Set 22, strength and endurance training. And what it is, it's a 100-mile bike ride, marathon distance run, and then I go and I flip a 200-pound tire around the track for a mile.
Yeah.
That's like 864 flips, dude. And
He was counting.
yeah, so I had a clicker this year, dude. I was like 200 flips off, dude. I was like, I told you, dude, I'm not good at math, dude. So I had to get somebody out there to click it, because the way that I did it, I was like, I just flipped the tire to like 100 yards on the track, and then multiply that times 4, and then multiply that times 4. Well, dude, you got like turns. You know what I'm saying? Like, so whatever, like, so we did the thing, and like, bro, we had this like solid bonding moment out there. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I give my heart to like every event that I do, dude. Like, there's just no quit in me. I'm all grit, no quit. Everything I do, dude, I'm putting my heart into it. Like, this is the way that I look at like life and events and stuff like that, dude. The way that I used to attack life was like everything. I put so much energy into destroying my life and living a very ratchet lifestyle. Like, I was hell on wheels, dude. Like, I've had APBs out on me. I was a fugitive for 5.5 years. 2 of those years I spent off the grid with no electricity. I mean, dude, like...
So you've been in the darkest places that a person could ever go.
I've been shot and stabbed in a gas station parking lot, dude.
Jesus.
And I'm not talking like jugged up or nothing like that bad, dude. Like, it was just kind of that. I mean, it was 3-on-1, dude. And I got hit with an ice pick. The ice pick did the most damage, dude, honestly, because the bullet just grazed the top of my arm. So what happens when the gun came out? I grabbed his hand because I was like in a close tussle, right? And I just caught the front of his hand. Whenever I caught the front of his hand, the gun went off, and it like literally just grazed the top of my arm. So it was not a penetrate. It was very, very, what do you call it, superficial? Is that the word? Like, just like a glance. Right. But the ice pick went in and like through the top, out the bottom.
Oh my God.
And then whenever it came, like, bro, like, okay, so this thing was not sharp. And
so that makes it worse.
Bro, like, you could feel like every layer of skin that touched. Like, it was so weird. It felt like it was almost slow-mo, dude.
Yeah.
That it just like, whatever. Like, so when I pulled that thing out, dude, I mean, the blood just like flew everywhere. You know what I'm saying? I'm leaking, dude.
Yeah, you could have died from that if they hit certain parts of your body that won't stop bleeding. You could easily die from that.
So if you look at the reel that I just posted yesterday on Instagram, I had not let these photos out or anything like that.
I saw the eye.
Yeah, that was a completely different situation. Because I actually didn't get beat up that bad in the situation. Yeah. In that situation, I like, as bad as it sounds, like getting shot and stabbed for like bad, but I did not catch like the worst part of that situation in reality. Like, I lost a lot of blood and stuff like that, but I was able to walk away from the situation. Yeah. I was able to get in my truck, and I did a fairly decent job of defending myself, especially once the gun went off, dude. Like, people started to flee.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But none of those guys were in vehicles. I was the only person in vehicle. So guess whose house the cops go to, because I'm the only person with a license plate.
That's the only thing they had to go off of.
That's the only thing they had to go off of, right? So I took my belt off and I wrapped it around my arm and tried to slow the bleeding. Bro, my arm was still like shooting blood. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I wrecked my dually almost to the house. I was flying down the road, and like, you know, like a gravel road like does this washboard thing and something. So like right before this bridge, it washboarded, and then my truck turned sideways, lodged on the boom. So like I'm stuck on this bridge, and I'm like literally dying. I'm like losing hella blood.
Yeah.
If you see those pictures, that is after I've driven home. I'm walking up the steps of my house, and you can see like a pool of blood here, and then like a couple steps forward, you can see like another pool of blood. Like, it's like you can see the heart pump, right? And then there's like my doors, like you can see the steps where the blood's like just dripping down or whatever, because I'm like trying to get in the house, and I'm like leaning against the door, dude. I'm trying to get my keys out of my pocket. I'm just like falling out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Luckily, I get in the house, and I just go to sleep.
Oh my God.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't really remember. Like, I remember.
I mean, you could easily have just
towel.
never woke up from that.
Oh, for sure, dude. And I would have been, at that point in time in my life, I probably would have been totally cool with because I hated my life, but I was not going to let another man take it.
Yeah.
That's just the will. Like,
that was that fight that you still had.
oh, for sure. For sure. It's the same thing that with any time that, like, cops were in the situation. I could fight really hard in those situations. I just like you're going to earn this paycheck, dude. I know you don't get paid enough, dude, but you're really about to not get paid well. So I've had a couple of the like Metro guys and like the SRT team and like SWAT guys and stuff like that. They've messaged me on the side and been like, bro, you were a nightmare, dude. If we heard that we had to go to your house, dude, it was like we knew we needed to say our prayers, dude, because somebody might not go home. Like,
they were gonna have to really earn that paycheck.
Most of the time, dude, they never called me.
Was there ever times where they just said it's not worth it?
Probably most of the time, because like once I had cameras, regardless if I had electricity or not, I had cameras. I would run on generators, like a little generator. I'd make sure that the security system worked. So like, bro, when they cut my electricity off, I had, bro, you know, I got homies, dude. So I had guys that I knew that worked for like for the electric company and stuff like that. And I would hit them up and be like, yo, dude, I'll pay you like X amount of dollars to like run a hard wire. Like, I got this heavy duty electric cord and I need you to run a line, a 220 line from the box to my generator. And I had a generator that was like in this little shed in the back. Well, it was a big generator. Yeah. Bro, my neighbors hated me.
Because I was loud as hell.
Dude, and I mean, like, I had it covered because, I mean, bro, all I hung out was with dope heads, dude. Like, you know what I'm saying? And people like that, bro, they'll steal everything you got. Like, I had to have that thing chained up, dude. I had to have that thing chained up, dude. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like,
was it that fight and that injury and you driving to your house, was that the event that led to an imprisonment because they had your license plate?
No, that one got me in the psych ward, though.
Oh, wow.
Because, like, the cops came the next day, and they're like, they were like, yo, did you get into an altercation last night? And I was like, nah. And they're, like, looking at the steps. And then, like, I've got, like, streaks of blood, like, running down the door. Not running. I mean, they're not wet anymore, but I mean, you can just see the steps are, like, covered in blood, dude.
Yeah.
So the inside of the house I was like, you know what? So they were like, so another one came up and had seen, like, I guess you could see from, he was like, yo, was it, you got a towel on your arm or something like that? And the towel was like soaking red, like, I mean, just, and hard. It looked like a cast, dude.
Oh my God. Because it was on there that long.
So, and yeah. And I was like, shit, dude. All right. And they were like, well, we're going to bring you to the hospital. And then they Baker Act, whatever. I don't know what it's called over there, dude. I think it's called they PEC'd me. It wasn't like, or CEC'd me, whatever. It's kind of like Baker acted, like it's.
They said, hey, you can't take care of yourself. You're a danger. We're
something like that, yeah.
Okay.
And then they ended up bringing me to the VA. And I ended up staying at the VA. Then they wouldn't let me out, dude. I was over there for like 16 days. And ended up going, you know, obviously went back home. And, you know, that's just, that didn't lead me to jail time. You know, I mean, it's caught me a little break or whatever, you know what I'm saying? But as far as, I went right back to doing the same thing that I did, you know, went right back to drinking, went right back to cooking dope, you know what I'm saying? Like, matter of fact, when I got back home, I walked to the gas station and I say gas station, like CVS. Not like a gas
corner
station.
Store or something.
Not a corner. It wasn't, because like they got like some gas stations and they have like a CVS or like a Walgreens that'll be like right by it. In the area where I live right there, I just went and bought some Sudafed, and I went and bought some cold packs, and then I'm not gonna run through the recipe, but whatever, you know what I'm saying. Got some lithium batteries, went to the house, had my water bottle, dude, and freaking busted up a batch, dude. Freaking next thing you know, I'm like, you know, back on a roll, dude, flying high.
So that, you know what that reminds me of, like with myself, I almost died of a heart virus when I was heavy into drinking because I had virtually no immune system. And a lot of people would ask me, oh, so that was your rock bottom? Like, you changed after almost dying? And the answer is no, it wasn't my rock bottom.
No, actually, I still, yeah, dude.
Right, so, like, it's always surprising to hear, like, what was that turning point for because it's different for everybody.
Dude, that wasn't even, like, the worst part of it, dude. That was just part of the process. I don't even know if I was, like, that suicidal yet at that point.
Oh, my God. So we're just getting started in this.
Yeah, I mean, I was like 20. Let's see. I think I was like 25 or 26 the first time that I wasn't far from it. Mm-hmm. I wasn't far from it at that time. I think like I was like 26, and then like within a year, I went for the second time. What I did was, I would never do it on my prescription, so that way I wouldn't lose like my Percocets, or I wouldn't lose like, you know, the Xanax, or I wouldn't lose all the goodie bags that I get from the VA. I wasn't that dumb, dude. You know what I'm saying? Like you know what I'm saying? Like I would get like 100 Valium out the street, and then got into a girlfriend, and we had like, there was a guy that had committed suicide, and then there was another guy that committed suicide, and I was just kind of like in a weird place with that, you know what I'm saying? And then I had one of my close friends that got kicked in the side of his head, and he died, and his daughter was being born, like supposed to be born like the next day or whatever, and so
lots of trauma back to back.
It was just like kind of like a back to back. I lost like a bunch, you know, it's like quite a few people, and then I made a comment about like we got into an argument, and I was just like, you know what, I'm fucking probably just in some shit, dude. And she was like, bro, you'd probably be better off, you know what I'm saying?
Oh my God.
And I just
like
encouraging
you?
Oh, dude, like, yeah, I was just like, roger that, dude. Say less, dude. You know, so I mean, I just grabbed the bottle and I just like turned it up, dude. I dropped like 6, and then I dropped like, and I said, there's a reason I say 6, because I went night after that. Like I swallowed that 100.
What were you drinking?
I swallowed 94. I went for 100. I dropped 6 on the floor. So the reason I say I dropped 6 is because whenever I got out of ICU, I went back and ate those 6.
Oh my God.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so whenever I woke up in ICU, I was like, bro, I can't believe like y'all brought me back. But there was a guy that was a Marine. He was also a sheriff. I don't know how this cat found me. Probably because there were no doors left on the house. Because I mean, like, I went ballistic right before that. And I mean, like, I kicked all the doors, punched all the doors out of every room in the house. I mean, I was just going.
So you just raged out.
I just
went
raged
nuts.
out, and then like, boom, went to sleep.
Oh wow.
Like just poop. I just remember listening. Like I just remember being like, and just lay down. You know what I'm saying? I was like, this feels good, dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no feeling in the world. Like, I have zero pain whenever I did that, dude. Like, I just went and got all this aggression out, and was just like, it's over, dude. I'm going to lay down.
Wow.
Yeah.
Weird, dude. You know? So, whenever I woke up, all the pain came back. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I was like crying, and bro, when I saw he was a Marine, and bro, I'm so grateful for that dude. He saved my life. You know what I'm saying? Like, he made sure that, like, you know, that I was good, and then he sat with me until I woke up.
Wow.
And like, I remember, man. I remember seeing him when he stood up and walked away, and he didn't say a word. And I was like, fuck, dude, I really don't want to be here. You know what I'm saying? I was like, I hate my life, dude. And like, I still wasn't, you know, and I went back home, and then I found those 6 on the floor. I was like, I had to freaking drop something, dude.
Right.
You know, and I ate them. You know, I went right back in the. I mean, 6 ain't gonna do me nothing after like 94.
You woke up barely surviving, and you found the ones that you weren't able to consume because you blacked out and then consumed those.
I guess I just dropped them, dude. Like, because I just kind of poured I just remember opening the bottle and pouring it in my mouth. You know what I'm saying? And, I mean, bro, my house was a freaking wreck, dude.
What happened after you took those 6, dude?
Oh, nothing. I just started drinking again.
Oh, my God.
I think I probably still had some beers left.
It just sounds exhausting, like just going through, thinking about my own past, which is not even close to like the stuff that you were putting in your body. I can't imagine
if you think, bro, never compare your journey to somebody else's, dude. You can't do that.
I guess what I'm saying is
we
I feel
all
for
get
you.
caught up in that,
I
though,
feel
bro.
for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Like it's hard. It's
but
hard
I needed
to hear.
that, dude. If I didn't go to those lows like that, dude, I wouldn't be able to help people the way I do.
Most people don't get out of those lows.
No, for sure. For sure.
I'd say 99% do not.
Bro, I have days now as in such a decent place as where I'm at now. Like, I'm going to say decent, right? Because life isn't perfect. I love life now. But don't think that I don't have dark days. Don't think that I don't revisit those times. There's sometimes, dude, I'm just like, bro, I remember what it felt like to shoot up. And I know the way that would make me feel internally. And just reminiscing on those feelings. Just talking about it right now makes my mouth water. You know what I'm saying? Because I can remember it. And like, I wake up from nightmares, night terrors and shit like that sometimes. And I'm like, and I can taste it in my mouth, And
it's like it's always right behind you.
Bro, that demon is...
It's right
you
there.
Have, like... I had these wings tattooed on my back, dude. A full size on my back. There was no way I was going to do no weak-ass Ja Rule wings, dude. I think that's soft. You know what I'm saying? But, like... like, I had to go full scale, dude. We don't do nothing soft or half...
Hell no.
Half-ass around here, But... So the top of the wings have, like, claws in them. They have spikes on my neck. And so the point is, like, the top of the wing are like demon wings, like a gargoyle demon type deal. And then there's a crooked spine in the middle that's like shifted. I actually have shifted discs in my spine. And then like 75% of the wing is like archangel wings. They're weathered, they're tattered, they're beautiful. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And there's like a certain amount of like evil that like is in my life, and I have to in the way that I live, the way that like it's like you got one foot in hell and you got one foot on never in heaven, but in the righteous area. Mm-hmm. I live the life where I'm constantly in a war state. I'm constantly in a fight. I live very uncomfortable. I'm constantly pushing myself. I'm constantly reaching for, and I never fear, like even like in addiction and stuff like that. I still sit in bars. I don't drink, but I still sit in bars. Like I'll be a year sober from I'm not sober because like I take like gummies and stuff like that to help me like relax and stuff like that, right? Yes. I mean, I'm not in the military anymore, dude. I do what I want.
You're talking about California sober is what they call that.
Huh? Is that what it's called? It's called Cali, dude. I don't really get
called
down
Cali.
on Cali.
I think it's called California sober. It means like you dabble, but you don't do anything hardcore.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you want, yeah. I mean, like, bro. So in my CS, I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna say this too. Like I used to claim sober. I used to be like, I am sober. Now I rewrote stuff because I don't want to mislead people.
Yeah.
Okay, so I take hormone replacement therapy. If you want to get real critical in the way that I try to execute and the type of ownership and accountability that I have in my life, there's nobody walking the face of this earth that's sober, and I'm gonna tell you why. We all have sugar in our diet, and there's like what is sobriety? The abstinence of all mind-altering substances.
Any mind-altering.
Well, you bet.
Caffeine.
How many people are fasted? Hey, speaking of that, when you go into AA, you go into NA, what do they serve there? Coffee. So there's not a moment in there, dude, that's walking the face of this earth that's sober.
100.
Sugar, food, mind-altering substance. HRT, mind-altering substance. You know what I'm saying? Like, everything in life is a mind-altering substance. Porn, mind-altering substance.
It's almost like you got to find just what works for you,
bro. So like,
right?
exactly.
Like, where's that line for you?
It's just a social boundary.
So
Yeah.
my gratitude is like, I used to have, I'm grateful for my sobriety. I want to be 100% accurate. I never want to mislead anybody. So I say, I am now grateful for the ability to abstain from substances that do not serve me powerfully. I'm grateful for things to say no to the things that do not that don't, you know what I'm saying, like
that don't lift you up,
destroy my life.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So for me, that's powerful.
100.
The second that I can take that kind of ownership and accountability, that is how I turn my life around. So we'll go back into another little story, dude. Like that last time that I went down, I was like, and dude, look, I wasn't in year, and I'll tell you what was worse than prison: being a fugitive for 5.5 years.
That fear of just
Bro, I was like, every situation that I was in was hot.
paranoid all the time.
You never know who's gonna turn you in. You never like, and I drove like Camaro SS's and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? My cars were paid for. Driving around with no insurance. You know what I'm saying? Got a car that's paid for, cash, no insurance. Thinking that I'm above the law. Thinking that like you can't touch me, whatever. And I was, bro, I should have had a license plate that said "will run" because I didn't even have a plate on my car. I didn't care. My car wasn't even registered, dude. I bought it off the lot. They didn't make me do anything. I drove off the lot with no insurance.
Wow.
Because I was ungovernable, dude. And I'm still the same way today in a different light. Yeah. Like you can't make me do, I'm like a straight up alpha. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I do what I want when I want, like, but in a positive manner.
Right. You
know what I'm saying? Like,
you
if I
care
have a
about
goal,
those
you
around
can't
you.
Yeah, I just have
That's the
relentless work
difference.
ethic, right?
Yeah.
Like, whereas like whenever I was driving that car, dude, and people would get in it, I'd be like, hey, look, dog, like, I'm letting you know right now I got warrants, and I don't know what type of life and like what you about, but like if you ain't in it to win it, then you definitely don't want to get in it. Like you definitely don't want to sit in that passenger seat, because I'm letting you know, like right now,
That's like a commitment.
what comes with that, and it's payable on death. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like I lived that way. Like, bro,
Wow.
cops ain't even living like that, dude. When you, the second that you see lights, dude, I'm like, and I had a nice little chip in my car, and dude, I had a Diablo Trinity T1000 programmer and stuff like that, and it was whatever, dude. Like, and bro, I would run until the wheels fall off, dude.
So you were a good criminal. It sounds like you.
Bro, I went hard, dude.
It sounds like
I got away
you did
anytime
what
that I was
you
in a
needed
high
to
speed
do
chase.
to do whatever you wanted and to make sure you kept that lifestyle.
I would buy crotch rock. I'd buy like 1000s, dude, that were unregistered. They'd try and come with it, dude. And I'd get to a certain point around a field or whatever, and I would just like Chris Angel it, dude. I'd jump on the seat, and I'd just jump off, dude, and I'd catch the ditch and just catch roll.
Oh my
and then hit the
God.
field, dude. Like, you have the bike,
they
dude.
wouldn't know where you went.
I'll get a whole nother bike next week. Like,
Jesus.
the people that I dealt with, dude, like, they were like, yo, you need another bike? Let me get that.
How did they finally get you in jail?
I went to sleep.
They just caught you sleeping.
So straight up, dude. I'm serious. They're like, the only time that I've ever like was if I turned myself in, which there were a couple times where because it just got really bad. My house got raided. I got away. They killed my dogs, and I lost it at that point, dude. And there were some other situations that I can't really go into that took place with that. But I ended up having to turn myself in because it just like got really violent between.
It was affecting a lot of stuff around you too.
It was like they were like, the police department had contacted my dad and was like, somebody's gonna get hurt.
Right. It's
Like,
got to that point.
because it's like he's attacking people in our end. People are the cop. It's like we're bringing him in a body bag, and it was bad, you know. So I was like, all right, well, let's do this, you know, whatever. Let's figure this thing out. But so I went in that time, and then I ended up getting into like some detox facilities.
That withdrawal is intense. So like that's probably part of why you kept running too, right? Because that withdrawal is just not worth it. That's like you'd rather die than go through that type of withdrawal.
Like it was, you know what I mean, the alcohol, the Xanax, the Oxycontin, meth, freaking just like whatever you can think of, dude. Like, I mean, it was, you know, it's just whatever, Molly, whatever. I mean, it's just running all the time. It was mainly meth, you know what I'm saying? But that was one time when I thought I was going to turn my life around. And then I was almost done with I've been going that time for about almost a little over 6 months that time. And then somebody called me and they were like, hey, so we're gonna I have a Monte Carlo SS if you want it. It's like black, it's got black rims, black windows, like black interior, whatever. And I was like, yo, come pick me up. And I ended up getting high in treatment, got kicked out, and then I was like back on the run again.
Damn.
Just like
You know what I'm saying?
It just got its foot in the door and that was it.
Yeah, dude. Like, and then 6 months later,
Yeah, use the restroom real quick.
Okay.
6 months later, I got picked up again, and then I got caught with a little bit of shit, dude. I was like running. So interesting situation before that took place. I was like running back and forth to Katy and Houston, and I was messing with some pretty dangerous people at that time, running back and forth with them. And then one of the other people that I was dealing with, like they've got 25 years behind that situation. It was just like a bunch of stuff, dude, like all different. The amount of stuff that we're dealing with, everybody that went down was getting down like for like big stuff. Luckily, I was able to kind of like avoid that. Like I got pulled over a couple times. They pulled the dogs out and stuff like that. And just so happened that like one of the times I had like 2 keys under the car and they didn't find any of it, dude. It was like,
wow. You had close calls.
bro, like they took my car and picked it up like with a record. Like they lifted the whole front of the car up, and the only, bro, it's so weird. The only thing that they found was I had this like little bag in my like whatever you call it pocket right here, and I like pulled it out and I tried to like put it in my drawers, and I guess he felt it. I guess he felt me like fidgeting and whatever, because like he had my hand like right here, but I had like pulled one down.
Yeah.
And I don't know how he didn't, because I mean I was like very aggressive with like whenever I pulled it down and tried to. And then he ended up shaking my shit, and freaking it fell out on the ground. He was like, "Oh, what's this, dude?" Freaking like, and it wasn't a ton, but it was enough to that, you know. So they bring me in. They're like, "Oh, we're gonna give you a golden ticket. We want you to set up like so and so." And I was like, "Oh yeah, cool, bro." When they let me go, I was like, "Find me."
Oh my god.
5.5 years later, dude. I don't like.
So that was it.
And I still talk to that dude to this day. Like I've never sold anybody out. I've never set anybody up. We can go to him right now, dude.
So you played along just enough to get your ass out of there and never look back.
Yeah, I never mentioned any names or anything like that, dude. You know what I'm saying? They were like, "Oh, you know this person." And the only thing I said, because I mean, bro, you already know this big dude. You're already watching him.
Right.
Oh yeah, you want me to whatever, cool, all right. And like I get out and get away from this dude, and I'm like, yo, they're on my ass, dude, and they want you. I have zero benefit telling you this, but I was solid, you know what I'm saying? Like I would ride, like I would look out for the people that like, bro, you're a big dog.
It's almost like at your core you still had the fight and you still had the loyalty. You just didn't have the right vision yet.
I definitely didn't have the right vision. I mean, like I got Unbreakable tattooed on my arm, dude, because I mean I would never sell anybody out. You know what I'm saying? So, and then I have good things come to those who wait, only the things left by those who hustle, because the only thing that I'm gonna leave for you is what I don't want. It might look brand new to you, but it was just shit that I didn't want anyway. But anyway, so that mentality is, I always have that hustler mentality, right? But I use that in a very different light nowadays. You know what I'm saying? Like I use that to execute, to build a plan, to create like a vision, have a solid vision, and then share that vision with the team. And then if I see somebody struggling on their journey, I'm like, I'll always try to share some perspective. And I've learned a couple tools along the way is like, hey, are you open for feedback on something? You know what I'm saying? That's what I turn like. So that way you give that person can give you permission to share something with you, big, yeah. Right? And that's one of the things like that that I work on with like I've had some. My girlfriend and I has had some interesting discussions, and she's like what you call like a fixer, mm-hmm. right? So she's always like, hey, well, you should do this, and I'm just like, hey, why don't you quit telling me what I should do? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm an alpha, dude. Don't tell me what to do.
All right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so I'm like, hey, if you would ask me, hey, are you open to some feedback?
So it's all on the presentation, right?
That way, like the way that you deliver it, dude.
The delivery.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, that's huge.
It's everything is how you deliver a message, dude. Mm-hmm. If I'm like, hey man, you're looking a little goofy today, or something like that, whatever.
I'm gonna put those barriers.
You're just be like, bro, shut up.
Yeah, it kind of turns into an argument.
Bro, I just kind of want to, man, do you realize like you got something a little off with your shirt right here? Like, is that a stain, or is that like, is it unbuttoned, or you just work on a different way of the delivery?
It's almost like you're coming from a place of love, and it disarms them, and it kind of leaves them open to feedback because they know you care.
100%. Versus
coming at them with criticism, and then it just turns into an argument. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
So my mentor, one of my coaches, a good friend of mine, he was telling a story one time. He's like, so I'm in a store, and there's a lady, and he's with his son, and I can't remember verbatim, dude. I'm about to screw this up. But the son says, man, you're fat. And so he said, I don't want to filter him because he's not lying.
Right.
Could I tell him that's inappropriate? I could. So all I did, because I don't want him to not think that he can't speak the truth. And in my house, we have powerful conversations. Okay, so now I've adopted. It's like I'm like, powerful people have powerful conversations. I like to be able to say, hey man, yo dude, look, you might not like what I'm about to tell you right now, but real shit is, this is the way that I feel about this situation. Not in a bad way. I just want you to know where I stand, so that way you don't think that I'm fake whenever I'm just like, just quiet. I'm not going to be passive aggressive with you, dude. That's a dangerous individual. But I want you to understand that I respect you enough to tell you the truth. So my guy goes, back to the story, my guy goes, kids, he said, but I could tell whenever I looked at her, because he's a coach, he's like, that comment really affected her. And so he said, I look at her and he's like, are you open to some feedback? And she's like, I guess. And he's like, what are you upset about? Is it the comment? Is it, whatever? And he's like, she started to just like open up and was like, I got this way because whatever, I'm not. And then like she started to, and he's like, well, there's a problem. Now you can address it. Now you can do something about it.
Definitely.
You know what I'm saying? So like, you
disarmed her and had her kind of
helped her open up a little bit. You know 100%. What I'm saying? And then from there, I don't know if she got into the program or anything like that, but at that point, it showed me like one of the things that I want to always work to do is to be able to speak to people powerfully and find a way to connect with people. Because man, sometimes I have a hard way of like delivering stuff. Like I have a no bullshit like vocabulary. And I think some people hate me for it, or some people love me for it until like they end up in that situation with me. Because they might be on that receiving end, and I'm not gonna tone it down, but I'm just gonna be like, I'm just trying to work on being better. I'm trying to work on the way that I deliver things, because no one needs to be like, you know, I mean, some people need people to be like, yo, put your shit on, let's go for a run, dude. Quit, you know, suck it up, dude, let's go. Like, doesn't matter how you feel right now. What matters is that regardless of how you feel, after we go do this, you're not going to regret it. You go for a ruck where you might have just like sat in the bed and like, you know, fiddle farted around with your thumbs or whatever and like been sobbing or whatever. We go on that ruck, dude, for like 2, 3, 4 mile, whatever. You're going to release some endorphins on that, and we'll be able to connect. We'll be able to talk. We'll be able to share some experience. We'll be able to talk, you know, about some stuff.
And you'll be able to connect on a whole different level.
And now we can, yeah, dude.
That's when the truth start coming out.
Yeah, man. And, bro, I'm a huge believer in, like, I have these, like, fitness trailers and stuff like that, or training trailers, mobile training facilities that I'm about to start selling. The first one will be down here in a few weeks. And, bro, it's like, I'm going to call that thing, like, the community builder. You know what I'm saying? AKA the suffer shack. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's going to have a squat rack on each side of it. You'll be able to put battle ropes all the way around it. You'll have kettlebells, barbells, pull-ups, like all this other stuff. Like, we're going to use it to connect with people, build community, kind of like how we do out here at Black Rifle on Fridays and stuff like that.
Yeah, when do you do that? I know it's off topic, but I kind of want to hit you up at some point because I feel like I always miss it.
Come get it. Dude, like, come out here, dude. Freaking anybody, any fitness level, whatever, dude. And look, man, we're changing it up a little bit, dude. We're going to go on some rucks. We're going to go on like some little trail walks and stuff like that or whatever. We're going to hit the beach. We're going to do some different things, some different locations. We may do it on like, I don't even know what they're called, dude. Like, I call them like range roads because they're just like dirt roads.
Oh, like the sand roads on the base.
Yeah, like the sand roads and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But
like
not
perimeter roads?
not necessarily on like McWhorter Road or something like that over there by like we. So I run with like a couple guys from group and stuff like that. And first time I did this, dude, it's called a 222. It's 2 miles with a 30-pound ruck, 2 miles with a 20-pound kit, and then 2 miles slick. I mean, you ain't got nothing on, right? You just run it straight. Bro, when you get to that 2 miles of like not having to run with anything on, it's like I could run like this all day.
You're like Superman all of a sudden.
Bro, but dude, like we've had some good times out there, dude.
Hell yeah, dude. So if we wanted to work out with you, how do we do that?
Bro, y'all just hit me up, man. Like, I mean, hit me up, dude, on social. Hit me up. I mean, bro, I'll give you my phone number. It's whatever, dude. You hit me up anytime. I don't care. We'll plan something out, dude.
What about here at Black Rifle? Is there something you do every week?
Every Friday at like 6:15. I try to get out here a little bit before 6. Okay. I try to be out here first and get a little coffee or something like that. You know what I'm saying? And that way I can kind of like connect with people, talk to them a little bit more or whatever. And then I sit over here for a little bit longer afterwards to be able, again, to connect with some people and talk to them, because like I want people to know that I'm there. There's so many people out here. There's so many people in life that think that they're alone. And I remember, and I'm sure you can feel that too. Everybody at some point, dude, thinks that nobody can understand them. Mm-hmm. Like especially in the military, dude. Like, we go through these things, dude, where we think we're the only one, dude. Like, bro. And look, quit being a victim, dude. Quit feeling sorry for yourself. I'm not here to feel sorry for you, but what I am here for is to show you that you're not alone. Like, I can't be in every situation, but I will talk. Bro, I'd rather hear your story than carry your freaking casket. You know what I'm saying? I'd rather hear your story than be at your funeral, dude. Like, I don't want to be carrying no more caskets and stuff like that, dude.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I want people to know, like, bro, that, like, somebody loves you. And I mean that shit, dude. Like, I mean that, like, with all my heart, dude. Because I know what it feels like to feel hopeless. I know what it feels like to feel helpless. I know what it feels like to feel like you're all alone, like to feel that the world's turning back on you, dude. Like, I've taken care of a lot of people. I know I've lived a violent lifestyle, but I've never robbed anybody. I never took anything from anybody. I never did anything to anybody that didn't take anything or do me something foul first. Mm-hmm. I was never a bad person. I was just dealing with some shit that was hard to cope with.
That was your way of surviving.
Bro, yeah, dude. Like, when I got back, like, it started with drinking, And then like it went into like ecstasy, and then it went into, you know, ecstasy and cocaine and meth and whatever, and just like started spiral. And then it was, you know, everything else, you know what I'm saying? Like I never did heroin, but you know, the pills and stuff like that. Like I had a surgery. So one of the things that took place whenever I got back was I was put on some medication to help me with dreaming, and it's called Risperdal. Well, Risperdal is like an antipsychotic / anti-hallucinogen. It's supposed to help you with sleeping and stuff like that or whatever. Well, it didn't do that. It like gave me muscle rigidity in my leg and stuff like that. Well, in the worst case, it turns into like rhabdo.
Oh shit!
You know what I'm saying? Like my muscle was just dangerous. Like jackhammering, dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. And then the next thing I knew, I had like this thing. It looked like I had a fist sticking out of my leg.
Was the blood trapped in there?
I developed compartment syndrome.
Oh, that's like deadly.
Atraumatic, dude. Freaking the muscle just locked up. Now my left foot's paralyzed. Now I'm cut from my ankle to my. So check this out, dude. It gets even worse. I go to the hospital. They stick this massive syringe in my leg, dude. All right. Back up a second. I'm busting the blood vessels in my eyes. I'm in so much pain.
Oh my God.
My blood pressure is like 205 over 106. A lot of people lose
limbs from that. They'll have to actually amputate that off.
Yeah, dude. And it's like, I'm in like I'm about to like probably have a stroke. Mm. My blood pressure was like 205 over like 106. I can't. They're like hitting me with morphine and Meprigan or Demerol or whatever, and nothing's working, dude. They hit me with like 6 shots of morphine back to back. It was like 25 at a time, maybe, or something like that. Does that sound right? 5 or 25? I don't know. I don't remember what.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
25.
Mm-hmm. Talking about milligrams and shit. Yeah.
Yeah, and it wasn't doing anything. I'm like, yo, I eat Lortabs like all day long. They're like, oh, that's why. So they go and get the Demerol, like 150 milligrams of Demerol.
Yeah.
So they had to get past your tolerance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And they were like, dude, we just hit you with enough that like would definitely put a little horse down. And I was still walking around like
Jesus,
like I was good, dude. Yeah. I was just like, oh, I'm like not hurting anymore though. So they go and they stick this massive needle in my leg, and it's this fucking gauge just like poof, whatever, and like, oh, you gotta have like surgery right now. Like, this is not good. And I'm like, well, bro, like this thing is like sticking out of my leg, whatever. They cut it open, and it had been up, I guess, you know, this is like the next day that they did that. So like that thing had been, you know, overnight, whatever. I was dealing with that. My unit wanted me to still come in, and I was like, bro, I'm cut open from like my knee to my ankle. I'm sorry. The first, it was just a fasciotomy. It was like 8-inch incision. Mm-hmm. They still wanted me to come in though, and like it's wide open, dude. You can just see the meat. You can literally touch the anterior tibialis.
They're like, cool, but you're on call. You're like, what the?
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, bro, I'm not coming in.
Anyone who's
dude.
been in the military has been in one of those crazy situations where they still expect you to come in, and you're like, pause. No.
I'm like, nah, dude, not happening. So they marked me AWOL. I lost my TRICARE, and I could no longer go to wound care, hyperbaric treatment.
Oh my God.
They not only marked me AWOL, they backdated my orders like a couple months. So it ended up putting like a $10,000 debt payment on me that like I'm still I was still paying on not that long ago, and it's actually like some of it's still on my credit. But it's really interesting. They need to fix that.
That's horrible, man.
Dude, so check this out. It connected to that. I'll review that. So that happens. Well, the muscle gets gangrenous and necrotic.
Oh, no.
Now they're debreeding it, and they're cutting this black stuff out of it, stuff like that, whatever. And they have to cut it the rest of the way open, remove it. The doctor's like, yeah, we almost cut your leg off because like it was just so much was rotten, dude. And I was like, bro, if you would have cut my leg off, I'd have woke up, I'd have killed you. Really good doctor though, dude. He had I used to pick on him because he had a stuttering issue, but I stutter too sometimes. So it was like,
I got you. Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like it was like he'd be like, shh, you need to take care of that leg, and I'd be like, yes, sir. But dude, we had this like he would like hit me. I love Dr. Mayer, dude. Man, I miss that dude. But we had a really good relationship. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know how it is whenever you got a relationship
banter
with somebody, you can just kind of like do that. You know, I mean, we would curse each other out, dude. And it was just like a really good time. Cause like, and I would ask him for these, like to refill the prescription. He would do it, but he would like, it was for like Meprogan. And he was like, you need to get off of this stuff because it's not good for you. He's like, I'm only telling you that because I care about you. Somebody else will just take your money and don't care. Mm-hmm. I don't want to see. And it started, that's when the pill problem started. You know what I'm saying? So I ended up going to a different doctor, and then I found a way to get it anyway. You know what I'm saying? But like, bro, who's going to turn somebody down? It's like their legs got looks like notebook wire in it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's like, because it's like, you know, wrapped, sutured up all the way up to the top. And, so,
can I ask you a question about the prison time?
Oh yeah, sure.
'Cause I listened to your other podcast.
Yeah.
And you said something like super insightful about prison in there, about how that was the most free you've ever been.
Oh yeah,
and that you might have.
That's real shit, dude.
I mean, it was beautiful the way you said it. And then, you know, you might have been in there for X amount of days, but you were only in there for, you know, for much less because of the books and where your mind went.
I was just turning my life around. I was realizing that was the longest I'd ever been sober.
How long was it?
I was in there for like 6 months.
And that turned your whole life around?
Yeah, I had a vision, dude. I had this like, that's where I started my vision. And I thought I wanted to be an NDT, non-destructive testing. And none of that shit worked out, dude. None of it. I thought I was going to get these like grants to be able to go to school and all this other stuff. And bro, like when I was in there, and I'll go, when I was in there, I had these, like, you have these programs, they'll tell you, like, when you get out, you got to do this, you get to do this, and then you'll go, and they'll help you. Well, whenever I got out, they're like, oh, no, you've got to whatever for 90 days. I'm like, 90 days, dude. Bro, this is where, like, the real war starts, when you get out from behind those walls. Not like you're super safe back there, but 90 more days is, like, that's a long time to go without, like, any kind of goals, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And in that 90-day period, I started to, like, visit wanting to relapse. I was, like, literally hiding in a room at my mom's house, dude, because I didn't want to go back to my house because of everything that was, like, people were waiting on me to get out. You know what I'm saying? Like, people were waiting on me to get back, to, like, come back to the streets. You know what I'm saying? To get back into the game the way that I was, and to, like, bring the, bring my thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, so while I was in there, my house got broken into by people that I took care of. Whenever I came out with nothing, dude. And, I mean, bro, like, they took everything all the way down to the sheets on the bed. You know what I'm saying? So, you're left with, like, just a shell.
Yeah, I mean, that's so messed up. These people that counted on that you helped, that counted on you,
bro.
The second you're not there, they take everything.
But they were junkies.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a dealer. They thrive on that, dude. Like, I had all kind of stuff, dude. I had so much stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, from making trades, making deals, whatever. People that didn't have money or whatever, or people that wouldn't pay me, and I'm just like, I'm gonna get mine, dude. Like, you're not gonna jack me. Like, I gave you a service, you're gonna pay for it. When, let's see, I go, all right, so I'm locked up, and I go down for sentencing, and I get sentenced to county time, credit for time served. All right. This is the first time that I get to, like, really experience some serious accountability and ownership at the sentencing.
Oh, wow.
the judge offers me probation and $100 bond, or $100, but whatever. I'm like, bro, I'll piss $100. I'll be out of this bitch today. Like, that's too easy. There's no consequence behind that. I've been in there for like about 3 months now. And I was like, with all due respect, bro, and the day before I told my mom, I was like, come get me. Get me out of here. And then I'm sitting in there and I'm like, I'm not leaving.
Oh my God, you made that decision.
And I mean, I could have went home, dude.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? I could have easily went home on $100, probation, whatever.
They gave you a pass. They were trying to get you out.
Look at my track record, dude. My track record says I'm a fugitive. I'm gonna run. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? Like, the second that I get out, I'm going after the people that took from me. I'm 3 months in. I still have that mindset of I will come after you, right? But then in the second that I'm in there, I'm like, you know what? I have nothing to go back out there to, and I'm going to kill somebody. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to make somebody feel they're going to pay for the stuff that they took from me. But sometimes in life, you have to lose everything you have in order to gain everything you deserve. Like, in order to gain, you need to lose everything in order to gain everything. You know what I'm saying? You have to learn how to understand the gift of life. You have to be able to understand that in every good there's a bad, or every bad there's a good. I'm in a bad situation. I'm incarcerated. I'm locked up. What's the gift in that? I've not been sober this long. You know what I'm saying?
You finally had a moment of clarity.
I had a moment of clarity. And that's kind of like where that happens at like 90 days. You kind of like get into a different place in your mind. You start to build these neural pathways. I've read tons of books. I mean, shit, we were going through books in like a few days. You know what I'm saying? Like a 400-page book, dude. I'd be done with like 4 or 5 days, dude. Like less than that. Some guys will read them in a night. I didn't read that much because I wanted to do push-ups. I wanted to do some other stuff. I'd still engage. We play some spades, which I sucked at. But I like to just like cut up with the guys and stuff like that, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, the more you jose, the faster the time goes by. As long as you can engage into an entertaining situation, just like if you're deployed, dude, you're not actually out there as long as you're engaging with your people. And, I mean, you are, but you're building those relationships, right? And so I'm in the sentencing, and he's offering me the $100 bond or the probation. And I'm like, man, dude, there's no, like, how long do I have to just sit? And he's like, dude, in all my years as a magistrate, I've never seen anybody turn down going home.
Wow.
Never seen anybody turn down going home and sitting here. I was like, how long do I have to sit? And he was like, 6 months, credit for time served will reduce all the felonies to misdemeanors. I never had to sell anybody out, never had to snitch on anybody, I never had to set anybody up. I was always true to my core. You know what I'm saying? I was never a snitch, I was never a rat. I was always able to, and then I got a real opportunity and a second chance at life. Like, I still have my voting rights, still have my gun rights. I'm not a felon. You know what I'm saying? I've done some wild stuff in my life. And I've been in like, but I also, the amount of time that I was on the run for, those charges have reached their statute of limitations.
Damn.
Like, you know what I'm saying? They still could have pressed them against me, but being that he was like, this shit is like 5.5 years old.
Yeah, at that point, it's like,
you know what I'm saying? Like, so, but in Louisiana, it's like Napoleonic law, dude. They do what they want. The judge can literally hit you with a max for like whatever, right?
So he's probably looking at your character and kind of gauging if he
like, man, dude, yeah.
If he should look that far back or not. You know what I mean?
I mean, bro, my rap sheet, like when I went down, was like pages, dude.
When you asked to stay in there and do the time now, and you know,
I asked him to go back and do a program.
What was it? Did he respect you for that?
Yeah. So he said, okay, so I'm sentenced to county time, and in Louisiana it's parish time. I was supposed to go into I was supposed to go into a program that I got kicked out of in jail because like the second day that I was in there, my house got robbed, and I was like sending some messages, and I was like, yo, let this dude know I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna like cut your throat when I get out. And they read the message.
Oh damn.
They check all your messages, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now we're like, I was like, man, these dudes just robbed my house, dude. Like serve and protect, dude. Like, go take care of something, dude. Like, they're tearing my stuff up and just like, you know, busting the windows out of my house and whatever. So anyway, and I get sentenced. Like, I get carried out, and then like I go to that sentencing, and the judge grants me to be able to go back to like allow me to go back into the program. Bro, I get back to county, or I get back to parish, and I'm like, I'm in I don't remember what block. I was in like third floor D block, which is not really a good area, and they moved me, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, like I'm about to go back to the program. Dude, they roll me out, they rack and pack you, they bring me downstairs, and they're like, oh yeah, dude, this is it. You're about to go to that thing or whatever. Bro, they put me on a bus and shipped me 5.5 hours up the road to freaking prison.
What?
Yeah, to Riverbend Detention Center. I go to like a gladiator camp, dude. 100 dudes in a bay. The third day there, dude, like all hell breaks loose. This guard beats the shit out of me, maces me. I lose vision in my eye. They strip my clothes off me. Like,
why were they so vicious in that attack on you?
Well, I mean, it's just the way the cookie crumbles sometimes, dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, but here's a crazy part about that situation. I could blame that on them all I want. Like, yes, an unfortunate situation. Here's the second time that I get to take ownership of everything in my life. And then I was like, so I ended up suing them. And I'm in court, like this, but like I had already started to develop that mentality. And that day I said, I am never going to put my life in somebody else's hands like this again. I told the judge, and I'd already thought about this several times. I was like, it's not the guard's fault that I got beat up. If I wasn't living the life that I was living, I would have never put him in the situation for him to hurt me. It's my fault. So when you can take that kind of ownership of your life, can you take that kind of ownership of your life? Can you say, in a situation that is absolutely somebody else's fault?
You were a victim, but you could be a victim. You still put that in, behind you, and you went forward.
But search for the gift. Yeah. Search for the opportunity to get stronger. If I can say, bro, if you're going to beat me up, and I'm going to say, if I wasn't living the life that I was living, I would have never put you in the situation to hurt me. I would never put that guard in a situation to beat me like that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, bro, you can't fight back. What am I going to do? What am I going to fight back for? So I can get killed? Because those guys come with some real deal, like, bad stuff after that. And those guys that were in there, they were like, yo, stand your ground. We're going to freaking, like, and I mean, those guys got blades, like big, like blades like the size of your arm. Like, in these facilities, dude, these guys got like real deal. Like, they ain't going home. Yeah. And they will kill you. You know what I'm saying? I was like, bro, I'm supposed to go home in like 3 months. Jeez. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got 90 days left, and I know this, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and
can I ask you a question?
Yeah, what's up?
Do you think, because you talk about the chance to get ownership and take responsibility, do you think that was like almost introducing you to a new drug? Like, because there's not a lot of feelings.
There's a whole different type of euphoria whenever you get the opportunity to take ownership of some shit like that.
It's addicting. You feel that, and there's hardly anything that can compare once you start doing that, because it's a sense of respect. It's a whole nother feeling you get when you truly see yourself taking the hard path, but the right path of ownership and holding yourself extremely accountable. It's almost like now your head was in a right spot to get addicted to something productive.
That's a power
How many times in life do you have the opportunity to do that? We have an opportunity every day to search for an opportunity to take ownership. When is there an opportunity that you have to point the finger and blame? Every day I see people point the finger. And I'm like, I don't want to do business with you. You know why? Because the first thing, and look, I'm going to an immersion. I get to coach some guys, like one of these things that I went through. And the first thing that I'm going to do when shit starts falling apart is I'm going to say, whose fault is this? And the second that they point their finger somewhere else, I'm smoking the shit out of everybody.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
When you were talking
There's something
about,
powerful with that, Mike. I think you're onto something there, man. That no drug can replicate that feeling of ownership and taking, and that power that you feel in dictating your own life by your own values, by your own code. There's really no drug that can give you that respect for yourself. You know
you're
what I mean?
talking about combat engineers. So I recently went through EOD school here, and I got to like
I did security for, I did EOD escort.
Okay.
While I was deployed, that was actually like kind of our primary job. We do route clearance on the opposite days and stuff like that.
So I'm really familiar. A lot of the guys were combat engineers that were even going through. Of course, my family's all combat engineers because the guard down the street from us is combat engineers. So I'm familiar with that. And I got to like the last test and I failed. Long story short. But you're probably familiar with any selection course. You go through boards of they ask you why you failed and all this stuff. And one of the biggest things I've ever done for myself is I have my, you always have what's in your head, and I know, I think I have my reasons of what happened and whatever, but the best thing I did for myself was I looked at the instructor who failed me, I looked at the board of Army, Marines, civilian, past, whatever, and I chose, and I knew that me saying that it's nobody else's fault but mine, you're not giving them anything to help you, because they're looking for like, was there something going on in your life? Was there something, like I had COVID and I was in a bomb suit, trying to defuse like this IED thing, and I was not in the best physical shape because I had COVID for 3 weeks. But like, what is that going to do for me in the long run? So I was like, there was nobody else's fault but mine, and I chose going in knowing that like that very well could now tell me like change my path of life forever, and I'm not going to be an EOD tech like I wanted to. But I feel like there's a bigger something to get out of that is like now I'm proving to myself and I'm putting in my cookie jar that like you're not going to put me in a position where I'm ever going to back down from extreme ownership of my character, because like I at some point you got to make that decision and you're going to be like, I'm never gonna crumble in and
yeah, you chose your
even
character.
if you do, dude, if you can, because one of the hardest things to do whenever you point the blame at somebody else is be like, yo, my bad, dude. That shit was soft.
Yep.
I made a mistake. I want to let you know that I apologize, and I'm gonna course correct on that. Like, give it an opportunity to, because generally when you do that, you'll kind of like, they'll go and they'll be like, they're gonna try to shoulder some of that as well, because you're gonna lead by example, right. And they're gonna be like, it's not all you, dude. You know what I'm saying? Like my girlfriend and I get in some arguments and stuff like that sometimes, or like, and I'm like, it's not your fault. Like, you have a right to feel the way that you do. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, I'll like I was out of line for this or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And then it begins to be this thing of like, you can kind of create that bond after that. Like, you can kind of figure, you can kind of fix some stuff. Like, you can kind of come to a middle ground. Like, if you can do that in a relationship, you can do that in a, like, and it's like sometimes I'll go first. I don't have a problem with going first. Mm-hmm. I'll go first more often than not, but that's because I want to show people I care. And that's the kind of character that I want to have in my life, is to be able to say, hey, man, I want to meet you halfway, but if I have to jump first, dude, if I have to go over half, it's okay, but I need you to meet me somewhere. I don't mind fighting a little hard for you, a little extra, but show me that you're going to fight too. That's and then beautiful. In the end, you might give me more than that. Right? Yeah. Like, you'd be like, because at some point in the you might be like, yo, let me hold you back for a little while. That way you can kind of like rest up to catch up from that other, you went further than I did earlier. So like, let me take some of that weight off your back. Whatever, just kind of like building that team of like, sometimes people just have been sometimes people have been betrayed so much in my life. And I found myself saying this the other day. I was like sending a text and I was like, dude, my whole life I've been betrayed, and in situations by people that I cared about and loved, and it can turn you into a victim really fast, and you can take those situations and hold them against everybody. And it's like, what do you how you respond to a situation. So it doesn't matter whose fault something is, but it's your responsibility how you move past that, how you address those traumas, how you address the situations afterwards. You know what I'm saying? Like
100.
you have to take ownership on your healing. You have to take on, like, yo, I'm fucked up because of, like, woo 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 wop, and like, bro, no. Mm-hmm. You're jacked up right now because your perspective's off, because you're still blaming X, Y, and Z. Yeah, bro. Like, I get this heightened sense of, like, I'm hypersensitive sometimes, or like hyper aware, or whatever. I have, sometimes have, like, bro, when you're trying to gain fire superiority in combat and stuff like that in certain situations, and then I didn't just go to combat, dude. I went to war in the streets. You know what I'm saying? Like, I brought combat home for 13 years. I was at war. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't care how many deployments you went on. I was in combat in the streets against people, against cops, against this. I stayed in a fight situation for a lot longer than people have been in combat.
100.
And I'm not comparing myself to anybody. I'm just saying I've been in very dangerous situations for 13 years. My parents have seen me pull into the house bleeding, crawling, like, found me on the floor, like, almost dead, like, ear ripped halfway off my head. I've got pictures of my bed with, like, covered in blood and stuff like that. It doesn't matter. None of that stuff matters. The only thing that matters is that in those situations, you can either blame everybody else or take those situations and use those to become a better individual. The only time that you fail in a situation, or like the only time that you're actually being stupid in a situation, is when you have no value, no knowledge, no wisdom, nothing that comes from it. There is knowledge and wisdom and power in every situation. It's what you do with that helps you to go forward in life, dude. Like,
100%, man. And Mike, I want to tell you, I'm proud of you too, man, for
that kind of ownership, dude.
For not just the ownership, but taking that chance on yourself. I mean, that was a year-long school that he committed to. Yeah, I know most people are too scared.
I don't know anything about the school, dude. I was just security.
Yeah.
I was just National Guard,
but
dude.
I'm proud
of
you for taking that chance on yourself, man. And then for not giving up on yourself and living by your own values. I'm very proud to say I'm your friend, man, for real.
Well, thanks.
Yeah. Love this kid.
Yeah, and a couple other things you're talking about too, like, because the school is every branch. So I work with gunnery sergeants, Marines, staff sergeants in the Army, and it was very easy to tell who you could talk to and who you had to work to talk to, because that's a big, like, team-based, like, small team-based jobs. You need feedback. Everybody knows you need feedback. Yeah. It's like they know they can't be talked to a certain way. They're like, this is how you got to talk to me. You know what I mean? Like, hey, I noticed you're doing this. Is this a good time to? Because some people are mad in the moment. Mm-hmm. You need to maybe circle around back to it. So it's good that, you notice that, and it's a good and healthy to realize that some people, because your wisdom is only as useful as how you can deliver it.
Dude, it's interesting you talk about the different branches in the school and stuff like that. While we were out there, we were attached to Marines, Army, and the Air Force, the EOD squads, or teams. And you could tell the difference in the mentalities and the training between the three different the branches, right?
Yep.
And that was the start of me being able to, like, how you talk to, like, how you handle certain situations, the way that you can execute in certain situations and stuff like that. Like, and how that transfers into life, dude. Mm-hmm. It's like just being able to assess a situation, assess an individual, and do and approach it tactfully, respectfully, but you can still be assertive. Mm-hmm. Like the whole point of any situation is, like, the more direct you can be, respectfully, the quicker you can get a point across, and the quicker that they'll, like, be receptive.
Yeah.
Be like, hey, look, man, I just want to put this out there. You might not like it, and then, like, you start, like, because if you smile at an individual, be like, look, man, this is gonna sound crazy. I really don't even want to talk to you about this, but I just want you, like, I care enough for us to be able to work through anything together, and I think that we'll be better after this situation if we can just talk about this. So I want to just share something powerfully with you, You may not like it, but if you could hear me out, would you be open to me sharing this with you? Sharing something with you? Generally, they're going to be curious enough to be like, oh, what is it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? No, I mean, there's very few
But you're
people.
also being vulnerable, and that builds trust. You're willing to be vulnerable and tell and really truly speak your mind and not play some damn games with someone.
Right.
And people pick up
I'm
on
not
that.
trying to cut you down, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
But like,
when
how
you're
can this
truthful,
benefit both of us?
people feel that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They feel when you're being truthful and you're being direct, and that takes courage.
Yeah.
You know.
Well,
so
also, if you're a leader, and you tell somebody, you say, "Hey, look, man, you know, this wasn't really the way that I wanted it done, but it's my fault because I did a poor job of relaying the information to you."
Mm-hmm.
And that's how, you know, a lot of situations, if you can stifle it from the beginning, like, bro, poor leadership. If your lowest ranking individual is making mistakes, it's because somebody up at the top failed. You're like, if they're not 100% disciplined up top, guess what? The
That sets
whole
the
unit's
tone.
going to have like failing disciplines everywhere
Yeah.
else. If you keep that discipline hard all the way through, you know,
the ripple effect is real.
100%, dude. I don't like when I commit to something, dude, I'm in it. I don't. It's just like, look, this is not fun. This is not gonna be cool. But the only way to, like, you make that commitment to yourself, you make that commitment to your team, and you just have to execute. Because I know that when there's situations whenever things get uncomfortable, and I'm like, there's somebody out there that's suffering a lot more than me, and they need me to show up right now. They don't know it, but they need me to show up, and I'm gonna be able to say, hey man, I executed every single day, but even though you didn't know it, I did this for you.
Yep.
100.
And that's how I execute inside of my heart, inside of my person. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely. And Geoff, you know, I think we're going to come to a close here because I think they're closed.
I think so.
So we might have to come to a close here before they turn the lights off and lock us in. We're coming to a close. But Geoff, I want to tell you, man, you painted this picture on your past life, on the type of man that you were. But even still, at your core, you had so much potential. You had the foundation. You just didn't know how to deal with the trauma. But man, to have you on the light side with everything that you bring to the table, you're lethal, bro. You are the amount of positive that you can do far exceeds the amount of negative you could have ever done. And so to have someone, that 0.1% who pulled himself out and is now a source of light and a source of power and inspiration, brother, the lives that you're impacting with your story is insurmountable. I mean, the vibes that you put off, the stories that you tell, everything about you is inspirational because you defied the odds. And now you're here for everyone else to pull us up with you. And I just want to tell you thank you so much, man, for being
that,
you.
man.
100%, bro. I got your back. We're bros for life, man. Dead ass. Love you, man. Love what you're about. And since we're leaving here, do you have any final thoughts that you'd like to leave with the HeroFront family?
Man, dude, so I'm just going to drop this last couple bits of information, dude. 2023 is going to be a massive year. We're going to close 2022 out strong. Y'all connect with me on Instagram. I don't know if you put links anywhere or anything
Absolutely.
like that.
I'll get all that from you.
But 2022 is going to be a massive year. February, I have a 100-miler. May, we do the Set 22 Strength and Endurance Challenge. Do that here locally. A week after I do Set 22, I'm going to be setting a world record. I'm going to be running the Trans-American Trail from Andrews, North Carolina to on the East Coast to the West Coast in Oregon. And in that period of time, I'm going to be running a minimum of a 50K a day, which is right at like a little over 30 miles. The current world record on consecutive days running an ultra marathon distance is like 21 or 22. I'm going to shatter that by over 100 days and consistently run 50K a day, dude. So by the end of 2023, I'll be working on my book. I'm going to be doing speaking engagements. I have this vision, and we're going to save lives like throughout. And dude, at the end of 2023, again, dude, it's going to be day one. We're just getting started.
Fuck yeah.
Every day is day one. We're just getting started, dude. I'm not stopping until they throw dirt on top of me, dude. I'm fighting for everybody.
And we love you for it, man. Thank you so much.
Hell yeah, dude. I'm grateful to be here, dude. We're going to have to do a part 2, man. We left out some of the stuff.